The San Diego Zoo Safari Park, originally named the San Diego Wild Animal Park until 2010, is an 1,800-acre, 730-ha zoo in the San Pasqual Valley area of San Diego, California, near Escondido. It is one of the largest tourist attractions in San Diego County. The park houses a large array of wild and endangered animals, including species from the continents of Africa, Asia, Europe, North and South America, and Australia. The park is in a semi-arid environment, and one of its most notable features is the Africa Tram, which explores the expansive African exhibits. These free-range enclosures house such animals as antelopes, giraffes, buffalo, cranes, and rhinoceros. The park is also noted for its California condor breeding program, the most successful such program in the United States. The park, visited by 2 million people annually, houses over 2,600 animals representing more than 300 species, as well as 3,500 plant species. Depending on the season, the park has about 400 to 600 employees. The park is also Southern California's quarantine center for zoo animals imported into the United States through San Diego. The park has the world's largest veterinary hospital. Next door to the hospital is the Institute for Conservation Research, which holds the park's frozen zoo. This zoological park and the San Diego Zoo are both run by the Zoological Society of San Diego. The park is 32 miles, 51 kilometers, away from the zoo, at 15500 San Pasqual Valley Road east of Escondido, California, along California State Route 78. Although the park is primarily within the San Diego city limits, it has an Escondido address. The San Diego Zoological Society became interested in developing the wild animal park in 1964. The idea of the park began as a supplementary breeding facility for the San Diego Zoo, which would allow ample space for large animals and ungulates. The development proposed would differ significantly from that of a typical zoo in that animals would be exhibited in a natural environment rather than in cages. In 1964, the park was assessed financially and then moved on to the next phase. This resulted in 3 alternative developments. There was an idea for a conservation farm, a game preserve, and a natural environment zoo. The natural environment zoo development was chosen over the conservation farm and game preserve, even though it was the most expensive option. The estimated initial cost was $1,755,430. The main purposes of the zoo were to be species conservation, breeding of animals for the San Diego Zoo as well as other zoos, and providing areas where zoo animals could be conditioned. When it came to naming the park, 5 titles were considered: San Diego Animal Land, San Diego Safari Land, San Diego Wild Animal Safari, San Diego Wildlife Park, and San Diego Wild Animal Park. The scheduled opening date of the park was set for April 1, 1972. However, the gates did not open until May 10, 1972. The general layout of the park, designed by Charles Doust, included a large lagoon with a jungle plaza, an African fishing village, an aviary at the entrance of the park, and approximately 50,000 plants were to be included in the landscaping. Although the park was scheduled to open in 3 years from the time of the groundbreaking, the total development of the park was estimated to take 10 years. The first 2 animals to arrive at the park were the nilgai, an antelope from the plains of North India, and the black and white striped Grant's zebra, native to East Africa. Other animals to arrive at the park include the gemsbok, a type of oryx from Namibia, the sable antelope, a horse antelope from Central and South Africa, the greater kodu, a striped, spiral-horned antelope from East and South Africa, the white rhinoceros who was in danger of extinction, the Indian rhino, the one-horned rhino from northern India, and 10 cheetahs, the fastest land animal, who were brought to the park for breeding purposes. In the summer of 2003, the San Diego Zoological Society and Larry Park Zoo orchestrated the capture of 11 wild African elephants from the Hulayan Royal National Park in Swaziland. The zoo said the animals were scheduled to be killed due to overpopulation. However, in defense of animals disputes this, claiming that new fencing costing many times less than the capture and transport would have ended the need to remove any elephants from Swaziland, and that the Save Wild Elephants Coalition reported that there were 3 other sanctuaries in Africa that had offered to take the elephants. 5 of these elephants are now at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, and cumulatively they have produced 13 babies as of 2013. In March 2012, 5 elephants were moved to the Reed Park Zoo in Tucson, Arizona, to form a new herd. A bull elephant, 2 cows, and 2 baby bulls were moved in return 2 cow elephants that had been together for years. Kami, an Asian elephant, and Shaba, an African elephant, were sent to the San Diego Zoo. Connie died from cancer in July 2012, just 5 months after the move. Shaba was slowly introduced into the herd in February 2013. The California wildfires that officially started on October 21, 2007, burned 600 acres, 2.4 square kilometers, of native habitat preserved in the park and caused it to temporarily close. The park also moved many of their endangered animals out of danger. The fire did not reach any of the main enclosures, and no animals were killed directly by the fire, although deaths of clapper rail and king were attributed to indirect effects of the blaze. On June 30, 2010, the San Diego Zoo Board of Trustees voted to change the name of the park from the Wild Animal Park to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park to clarify what it offers, since some visitors were unclear as to the difference between the zoo proper and the animal park. The name Safari is supposed to emphasize the park's spacious enclosures of free-ranging animals, as opposed to the closer quarters of the zoo, encouraging visits to both locations. The park's largest exhibits, covering over 300 acres, 120 ha, are the open-range enclosures. Visitors view various plains habitats from Africa and Asia. Asian savanna covers 60 acres, 24 ha, and displays Indian rhinoceros, Bactrian camels, banteng, gaur, argali, mouflon, dholes, sarus cranes, and several species of Asian deer and antelopes such as blackbuck, Barasingam, Sika deer, Taxus deer, Eldes deer, Pear David's deer, nilgai, hog deer, white-lipped deer, sambar, and wapiti. African plains represents many regions and habitats. East Africa displays Cape buffalo, southern white rhinoceros, Rothschild's giraffe, reticulated giraffe, bison, fringed oryx, waterbuck, Nile lechwe, red lechwe, impala, Grant's gazelle, Thompson's gazelle, and a lagoon with East African crowned cranes, Dalmatian pelicans, sacred ibises, and great white pelicans. The North Africa exhibit represents the Saharan Sahara that houses scimitar horned oryx, Barbary stag, red-fronted gazelle, Barbary sheep, and Ankole Watusi cattle. The Southern Africa field exhibits Grevy's zebras. The South Africa field exhibit holds Maasai giraffes, common eland, sable antelope, gensbok, springbok, blue wildebeest, blesbok, and ostrich. The Central Africa region features a wooded waterhole with an island for pink-backed pelicans, saddle-billed storks, lappet-faced vultures, spur-winged geese, Goliath herons, and Ruppel's vultures. On the shores of the lake are bongo antelope, Red River hog, greater kodu, Ugandan kob, gray reebok, roan antelope, and other forest animals. A number of smaller enclosures visible only from the tram are home to Somali wild as, Nubian ibex, kangs, Arabian oryx, beryl, gorals, Japanese serows, marker, Soamarings gazelles, black rhinoceroses, slender-horned gazelles, and Przewalski's horses. Species of note in the open enclosures include 2 subspecies of giraffe, rhinos. It was the last New World zoo to have northern white rhinoceros, gaur, vultures, marker, and many species of antelope, gazelle, and deer. The Sumatran tigers have 3 different exhibits, and there is a glass viewing window for visitors. After raising $19.6 million for the new exhibit, ground was broken on December 12, 2012. The new exhibit is named the Tull Family Tiger Trail after movie producer Thomas Tull and his wife. Tiger Trail opened May 24, 2014. The park's Nairobi village houses numerous exhibits for smaller animals. Among these are meerkats, an African aviary, ring-tailed lemurs, Chilean flamingos, pudu, dictic antelopes, yellow-backed duikers, Red River hogs, West African crowned cranes, coatis, and white-fronted bee-eaters. A large lagoon is home to numerous species of waterfowl, both foreign and native, as well as shoe-billed storks. Lorikeet landing and hidden jungle display feedable lories and lorikeets, and African birds, respectively. There is a nursery where visitors can watch baby animals being hand-reared as well as a nearby petting corral. Finally, a gorilla habitat houses a troop of western lowland gorillas. A flying fox bat exhibit also located there. Located in Nairobi Village, this climate-controlled indoor exhibit opened in 1993 and displays tropical African birds and insects. The entrance to the building is a simulated earthen crevasse with displays for stick insects, spiders, scorpions, insects, millipedes, lizards, and snakes. The underground segment opens up to a room representing the rainforest understory, which leads to a second room representing the canopy. On display are long-tailed paradise wida, purple grenadier, red-crested tirico, African pygmy goose, beautiful sunbird, and other birds. Hidden Jungle is the setting of the annual Butterfly Jungle event. Opened in October 2004, Lion Camp houses the park's 13 African lions in a 1-acre, 0.40 ha exhibit. One side of the enclosure is dominated by an artificial rock copy which has a 40-foot-long, 12 m, glass viewing window and heated rocks. The path continues along an acacia-studded ravine and leads to a replica observation tent. This has a smaller viewing window as well as a Land Rover for the lions to rest on. Condor Ridge displays endangered North American desert wildlife. The featured species are California condors. The wild animal park was the key force in the recovery effort for these birds, and this is one of the only places in the world where the public can see them in captivity, and desert bighorn sheep. Other species displayed include aplomado falcons, long-eared shrikes, thick-billed parrots, northern bald eagles, prairie dogs, black-footed ferrets, magpies, ocelots, porcupines, Harris's hawks, and desert tortoises. Formerly known as Heart of Africa, these are two of the park's major exhibits. Visitors go down a trail which replicates habitats in Africa. The exhibit begins in African woods with scrub animals, bontebok, vultures such as the Egyptian vulture and the hooded vulture, and giant eland. It then progresses to the forest, okapi, duikers, red river hogs, gerenuk, steenbok, blue cranes, demoiselle cranes, wattled cranes, and Adams storks. The path then leads to African Outpost, which features plains animals, warthogs, bad-eared foxes, ground hornbills, Cory bustards, secretary birds, white storks, yellow-billed storks, cheetahs and nyalas, against a backdrop of the Open Range East Africa exhibit. A central lagoon has lesser and greater flamingos, waterfowl, sitatunga, an island with black and white calabas monkeys, and an interpretive research camp on a separate island. The park formerly operated a monorail line, the Gaza Bush Line, which ran clockwise through the wild animal park. The name of the monorail was chosen by chief designer Chuck Faust. The monorail line has been retired, partially due to high maintenance costs, and in March 2007 the Journey into Africa attraction, now renamed Africa Tram, opened. The Africa Tram tour runs counterclockwise and brings visitors to the field exhibits to see wildlife from different parts of Africa. In addition, another route is planned to bring visitors through the Asian field exhibits and into 8 new ones that will house a variety of African animals from rock hyrax to Hartmann's mountain zebras. The tour utilizes a wheeled tram that runs on biofuel instead of a monorail. As well as the tram, the park has also added a tethered balloon ride that allows visitors to see the plains exhibits from 400 feet 120 meters, 21 giraffes, in the air. The balloon ride is not included in the entrance fee. The park also has extensive botanical gardens, many of which are their own attractions separate from the animal exhibits. Walkabout Australia is the park's only Australia exhibit. It is 3.6 acres and guests can go inside an exhibit which features western great kangaroos, red-necked wallabies, Australian brush turkeys, Raja ducks, freckled ducks, and magpie geese. Walkabout Australia also has 2 southern cassowary exhibits, a Matchie's tree kangaroo exhibit and an animal ambassador area where guests can meet the Safari Park's Australian animal ambassadors. Walkabout Australia also has a restaurant in a Devil's Marbles area. Walkabout Australia is included with zoo admission and a new exhibit called Platypus Pond is home to 2 platypuses. The exhibit opened in 2019. The Safari Park was a major factor in the recovery of the California condor. Beginning in 1980, it worked with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in the Los Angeles Zoo to start a captive breeding program. The last 22 condors were taken into captivity in 1987 to breed the condors quickly. The safari park would remove the eggs from the nests to induce the females to lay a second egg. The removed egg hatches in an incubator and is raised with a condor hand puppet to prevent human imprinting, while the second egg is raised by its parents. Captive bred condors were reintroduced into the wild beginning in 1992, and today their population is 369, with 191 in the wild as of March 2011. On December 14, 2014, Ngalafug, a 44-year-old male northern white rhinoceros, died of old age at the park. This left only 5 northern white rhinos left in the world, including 1 female at the safari park. On November 22, 2015, the park's last northern white rhino, 41-year-old Nola, was euthanized due to bacterial infection and her health rapidly failing. In June 2019, 2 young male African elephants named Engads and Lutsanvo were sent to Alabama's Birmingham Zoo as part of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums Species Survival Plan. The safari park has received several awards for its breeding programs and conservation efforts,